What's up, y'all? Welcome to another episode of Throwing It Back with Sean Farrell. I am Sean Farrell. God is great all the time. All the time, God is great. Jesus Christ died and he rose again. Let's get into it. So I was out. Well, I was sick for a majority of the week. Not just from a cold, but I also had some dental work done that left me in a little bit of pain. Not overbearing, just a wee bit of pain. But I would say it was a cold that affected me the most. It was like for a couple of hours a day this week, my throat would be sore. Then it would transfer to my head. Then it would transfer down to my legs, all throughout my body. So one day I would have a body cold. The next I would have a sore throat. The next day I would have a head cold. And then the next day I would have facial pain along with the stuffy nose. And now I'm on pain meds from the dentist along with this cold that I'm trying to battle. And so I was in no condition to bring y'all any type of content for the majority of the week. But I am on my way back. I'm about 90% now. Yeah, I'm pretty much back now, not 90%. And I say 90% because my nose is not clearly unclogged yet. So, but it's getting there. So, but anyway, enough of that ish. Let's get into it. So you know how NBA players today trash the old school legends of the game, okay? JJ Redick calling them plumbers or whatnot. Plumbers, they weren't all that skilled or whatnot. As a matter of fact, they were skilled. Yes, they were. They were skilled. And let me tell you something that you had to do back in the NBA. You had to fight, okay? You had to fight, especially in the 50s, the 60s, and probably on up to the end of the 70s. You had to fight, okay? Bill Sharman, NBA champion as a player with the Celtics, and NBA head coach champion with the Lakers, said he saw a lot of good players get pushed out of the league because they wouldn't push back, okay? So when somebody challenged you to a fight in the 50s or 60s, you had to fight, okay? And the fans would challenge you to a fight. Ask NBA players back in the 50s what it was like to play in Syracuse, okay? Fans would actually come on the court and try to fight you. The Syracuse Nationals, the forerunner to the Philadelphia 76ers, okay? The Syracuse fans would actually try to fight you and challenge you in those days, okay? And LeBron said Giannis would score 250 points if he played against NBA players back in the 50s, 60s, 70s, okay? He said Giannis would score 250 points, which means you're taking a shot at Bob Cousy, Wilt Chamberlain, Jerry West, Bill Russell, Elgin Baylor, okay? So I thought about that. I thought about all the trashing that today's players do of the legends of the game. And it made me think about this, okay? Everybody dunks the ball today, right? So everybody dunks the ball. But back in the day, in the early stages of the game, during the early years of the NBA, dunking was not allowed. It was allowed. Dunking was allowed. But if you dunked the ball, you paid a price for it, okay? You paid a hefty price for it. And just listen to the legends of a game from this 1991. From this 1991 NBA dunks video. Just listen to what the legends of the game had to say about dunking back in the 50s, back in the 1950s.
But in basketball's formative years, the NBA's greatest players, like George Mikan of the Minneapolis Lakers and Bob Pettit of the St. Louis Hawks, shunned the stuff shot for fear of repercussions from their rough and tumble opponents.
I mean, I could dunk, but I would never even think of doing it. You never saw anybody take off from the foul line and try to dunk. You did that, somebody would just put you right in the third row.
In those rugged early years, an attempted dunk was a sign of disrespect, and it would be met with the swiftest of punishments.
Well, every time you left your feet, you were endangering yourself because they'd take your legs right out. Players certainly could dunk the ball, but if you dunked the ball, your man didn't like it, and you would pay for it the next time.
But despite this shot's perilous nature, the indomitable Minneapolis Lakers still dared to practice this rather unique way of putting the ball in the basket.
We had guys that could dunk it just as well, but maybe not as high now. When we would warm up, we would have guys like Pollard and Mickelson and myself and a whole bunch all go up and dunk the ball.
Slowly gaining acceptance, the dunk made its way from the practice court to prime-time action. But this was only the beginning.
Yeah, so you heard what Roscoe said. Roscoe was the narrator of that 1991 dunks video, okay? Roscoe said an attempted dunk was a sign of disrespect, okay? So, let's just take John Morant, okay? So if John Morant went up for a dunk in the 50s, they would... you heard what Pigeon Paul Everson said. Every time you left your feet, you were endangering yourself because players would take your legs right out. Okay. So you can look at these players. So you can look at the legends of the game back in the young years of the NBA and say they may have been plumbers, but they were tough guys too, because while it was still basketball, there was a little bit of a football element. Trust me. There was a little bit of a football element in the early years of the NBA. And again, Pigeon Paul Everson said, every time you left your feet, you were endangering yourself because players would take your legs right out. So it was a little bit of a football element that the early legends of the game brought to the NBA, okay? So these plumbers that J.J. Redick talks about, let's just say if today's players played in the 50s, you probably get treated a lot more differently than you would in today's game, okay? So if you were John Morant going up for a dunk, you would get knocked out of the air. You would get knocked out of the air and probably land on your back. And it wouldn't even be a flagrant foul. It would be a foul. Shoot, so, yeah. So, I just don't get it when today's stars trash the legends of the early millennium, the 90s, the 80s, the 70s, the 60s, the 50s, okay? I just don't like it when they take shots, okay? And what did the guys who came to the league in the 60s say about how the 50s? They gave them their props and they appreciated it. The guys who came along in the 70s, what did they say about the 60s legends? Gave them their props. The guys who came in the 80s, what did they say about the 50s, 60s, and 70s players? Gave them their props. Same thing with the 90s. Okay? And you saw the NBA at 50 celebration where the 50 greatest players of all time at that time in 1997. No, they bought the George Mikans, the Michael Jordans, the Wilt Chamberlains, the Elgin Baylors, the Isaiah Thomases, the Bob Pettits. The greatest players, the 50 greatest players at that time. all came together, okay? So, and they honored one another. They really appreciated each other's generation, okay? And same thing, I would say on up until the 2010s, where we started seeing the disrespect of legends, okay? And while the legends of the game honored the legends of the game, if that makes sense, you've heard various NBA players speak about the disrespect. Dominique Wilkins, Isaiah Thomas, Kevin Garnett went nuts on Anthony Edwards, okay? And people saying Michael Jordan was the only skilled player or whatnot. The disrespect is just insane, okay? And I see why the legends don't like today's game, primarily because of the disrespect and the way they play and the way they approach the game, okay? So, yeah. All right. I just want to put that little bit of content out there while I'm feeling 90%. Y'all, I'm out of here. God bless y'all. Peace.
They swat at it and steal it. Here comes Chicago. 17 seconds. 17 seconds from game 7 or from championship number 6. Jordan open. Chicago with the lead.
He gets Brian Russell with a quick crossover. Look at Brian Russell slips, and Michael pulls up and buries the shot to give him a 1-point lead.
That may have been. Who knows what will unfold in the next NBA?
Watch Jordan's left hand here as he gives Russell the push. The referee can't see that. Jordan frees himself up for a clean look. The greatest thing about Jordan is he has